welcome. This is Gbogbo Swagger and this is Swaggerslifestyle. How are you doing? You good? I know you are. So to our new subscribers, welcome to our community, and to our returning subscribers, you guys are the real MVP. I would like to say thank you so much. So we'll just do a deep dive to our topic of today. And I would like to talk about a lot of things that are happening in the country and the world, as it were. There's a lot of moral decay. In fact, it's like the bankruptcy is high on values and morals. So, and what is the root problem? The root problem is parenting. It's the family, it's the family unit. So so I was searching and I was doing like a research and I stumbled on something, and I think it's very true because it brings the whole essence of parenting to bear even from inception. So do you know that holding and stroking an infant help release hormones that are important for growth? So when you have that baby and you just keep touching the baby, stroking the baby, carrying the baby, it helps the baby grow. And also it develops a bond between the mother and the child, and also the father and the child. So today we are having a very wonderful discussion because today we are bringing someone back due to popular demand. Do not go anywhere. This is Gbogbo Swagger and this is Swaggerslifestyle. Subscribe. Click on it. Thank you.
Welcome to Swaggerslifestyle.
So today again, I'm back, and this time around, I think he should just introduce himself. So can we meet you again and again?
Hey, my name is Babatunde Dejialo. People call me Babs.
Babs for short. So a lot of parents have lost it when it comes to parenting. There are lots of moral bankrupt kids, spoiled kids, disciplined kids, and different types of kids in the world, as it were. What style of parenting do you think is the best?
I like the word, your choice of word, morally bankrupt kids, but I would like to push that a bit forward and say that decadent kids eventually grow up to be a morally bankrupt adult. And we live in a world where everyone thinks, oh, I owe nobody anything, I don't have to do anything for anybody, I don't have to explain myself to everybody, the woke generation. And we stand at the risk of we sounding like dinosaurs. We sound like things that are a bit outdated these days when we talk about respect, when we talk about responsibility, when we talk about ways to behave in the society. It actually stems from when the child is small. So family is the first agent of socialization in the life of a child. The first kind of exposure you have in life is to your family, your immediate family, your parents, your siblings and cousins, in the case of Africa where we have the extended family living. And I can assure you that a lot of damaged adults, male and female, stems from the childhood. So when they miss it as parents, when parents miss it or how to raise their kids properly, we have what we currently have now, a generation where folks are foul-mouthed in the name of feminism, where men are irresponsible in the aim of or when they start citing things like, oh yeah, women talk about independence, and then so be independent and I'm going to be irresponsible. You don't want to be responsible for your wife, you don't want to be responsible for your girlfriend, because you feel that the girls are pushing for independence, therefore you should let them do their thing. So it's quite broad-based, and I am hoping that we have a bit of time to touch a bit on everything, starting from when a child is small, from the agent of socialization, civilization, and the family. So I hope we're able to talk through that, and then we're able to get to a conclusion on why we have what we have today.
So what style of parenting is the best?
There is no manual for parenting. They don't sell the book on Amazon, they don't sell it in any bookshop. And there's no style for parenting. It's dynamic, it changes, it evolves in the life of a child. So you don't know the kind of child you're gonna get. Like, a child is made up of DNAs, genes from both parents. It could take something from the grandparents as well. And so when you have a kid, as a parent, you read books, you study the kids, and know the kind of kid you've been blessed with. And then you start to know what kind of style fits that child. You start to evolve with the plan. It has to be dynamic. If you try this and it doesn't work, and you see that you're not getting the right results, you need to have a bit of mix to it. So say you have the liberal approach to raising a kid. Maybe that's how you got raised. And then you're trying to be liberal with this child that's particularly stubborn. That might not exactly work. Giving him leeway to do whatever he wants to do. You need to, be a bit of, you need to take charge a bit more, tell the kids what to do. And sometimes you might need to resolve to a bit of spanking or cane or some discipline. But like I said, I can't sit here. I'm sure the children's psychology experts probably watching. They will probably shoot me if I say, "Oh yeah, you have to go this way." No, it evolves, and you can even have 3 kids, and you can't use what you use for the first one for the second. I'll give you an example. I'm from a family of 5, 3 girls, 2 boys, and I'm somehow different from the rest of them in such ways that even my parents, I remember at a particular point that they got a bit confused on how do you raise this one. It's a bit like this, a bit like that, it's a bit like this. So you can't compare kids and you can't raise them the same way. So the plan has to evolve. The plan has to be dynamic. The plan has to be robust as well. So sometimes it can be a hybrid of being liberal or being a little bit tough on the kid. And I'm going to say something here for free. Like, if any parent is listening to me, or all the parents are listening to me, if you have a child who at some point doesn't see you as wicked, doesn't see you as a witch, as the case may be, a woman, I think you're doing something wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. So if your kid is not upset with you that you're trying to set him or her straight, I think you're definitely doing something wrong, because your kid cannot agree with everything you do all the time, and you can agree with what the child does all the time. So if you guys are not on a collision course, I believe very strongly that you're doing something quite wrong. You might want to check that again.
That's thought-provoking. So, should kids have what they ask for always?
Nope. I don't believe they should have. You need to. I was very definitive about that, because a child is going to want everything. That's why they say things like, "Oh, so person is behaving like a child in the candy shop who wants this. Oh, that I want this. I want that. I want." So a kid does not really know what he or she wants. A kid does not really know what is good for him or her. A child is a child. A child is a sponge. A child wants to soak up everything around them. A child wants to pick up everything around them. So if a child says, "Dad, I want a Ferrari," as a child, should you give your child a Ferrari, even if you can afford it?
But some do.
Agreed. But should you give your child a Ferrari?
No,
First, your child is not old enough to drive a Ferrari. 2, your child is not matured enough to handle the power of a Ferrari. "Dad, I want to drink whiskey. I'm a drinking person." All right. So my child comes to me and like, "Dad, can I have that?" And I'm like, "No, you can't have that. It's adult drink. Should I give my child that?" So when we think of things we want to give children, we should also think of the things we can't give children. I mean, a child comes to you and wants something that he shouldn't have. Think of what the child shouldn't have and use that to answer the kid. I just gave you 2 examples. "Dad, I want a Ferrari." Let's assume you can actually afford to buy your child a Ferrari. He's not old enough to drive a Ferrari. He's not matured enough to handle a Ferrari. So why should you give your child a Ferrari? So you have to measure what the child needs before you buy it. The age of maturity to handle that particular thing before you do that. What is influencing the child's request for that thing? I'll give you an example. A child comes in from school and like, "Dad," say, "Yeah." There's this boy in my class. He has a Nike trainers. I'm like, "Oh, fantastic! He has Nike trainers." And he goes like, "Oh, Dad, can I have one?" And you're like, "No." I'm going to say no, because his request is being driven by what the other child has. And if you keep agreeing to what a child needs because of what is ever going to bow to peer pressure. So at some point you need to put your foot down and let him know that you can have what you need or what I think you need, not because somebody else has it. So that's how it starts. You know, we talk about peer pressure, teenagers where kids start to smoke, they start to drink, they start to do some other wild things. So it starts from when they're younger. If your child is always influenced by what other kids have, and you don't quickly nip that in the bud, you're going to have a damaged adult who is always competing with his friends, who is influenced by the society, social media, everything everybody wants, that's what he wants. Everything someone is doing, that's what he wants to do.
Okay, let me paint a scenario, right? Oh, mommy, I want a baby shark bag, or I want a baby shark, what's it called, flask or something like that. Do you give the child stuff based on what is trending, and you say that in the cartoon world, or like, for example, Cocomelon is raining, everybody's having Cocomelon parties and all of that. So what's your thought towards that?
Okay, my opinion towards that is when things are trending, they're usually nice things. Let's not kid ourselves. So say no, yeah, it's true. So if this is trending, they're probably nice things. I, as a parent, can I afford it? Question one. Does the child need it at the point? Let's say, oh yeah, there's this bag, there's this children bag, or you know, that everybody's buying at the moment, and I just bought another bag. I literally just bought a new bag, and then there's this new bag that you want me to toss that one and buy a new one for you. No, darling, you can't have that. You can have it next semester or next
something else is out.
next term. Oh yeah, we'll buy that one when this one is old. Then when the new one comes, if I can afford it and you need it. That's what I keep saying there. It's not just about buying things for kids. Can you afford it? Do you need it? I'm sure you have a few friends that you'll be wondering, what's wrong with you? Even this thing you can't afford it. I don't have money. It's simple yet powerful. Some of us think, oh yeah, you know.
You have to look for a way to your kids.
No, I'm going to tell you, I can afford it. Same way you can tell your partner, people tell your child, Dad, what does that mean? That means daddy does not have money. You know, daddy has to pay your school fees. Normalize the conversation. So when they ask him in school, why do you not have this? My father says he can't afford it. So he grows up, or she grows up, knowing that saying they can't afford it is legitimate.
So at what age should kids be introduced to internet and mobile devices?
Depends on the kind of where you're raising your child. If you're raising a child in the Western world, everything is done online. Everything is done smart. Doors are opened smartly. Reservations are made online. Gym registration, school registration. So that question depends on geography. Depends on where you stay. Depends on your economic status as well. Say I have a smart house. Doors, lights, everything. All of it is on internet protocol. So why would my child not be exposed to internet protocol? Corona came, knocked everybody off their stride. Kids have to have internet. So from 2019 till date, everything that we used to see about internet, oh, I'm going to put this control, you know, you can't do this. We needed to relax them. Everybody was learning online meetings and all of that. So three factors now. First thing is where the child grows up, or the location where the child is growing up, socioeconomic status of the parent, and then unforeseen circumstances, first major, which happened to us in 2019.
Yeah.
And then every child that can afford it, had a computer, a tablet, a smart device with internet on it. So that those times you're trying to work online as well, and the child is left to their own devices.
So is it like, okay, because of all of this things, it's understandable, but what parents should do is to ensure that they are on the right side, they are doing the good things from using the internet to do all of that.
Training. At the risk of sounding like a pastor, which I'm not anyway, the Bible says, teach your child the way it should go, so that when he grows up, it does not depart from me. Children are going to be children. They're going to be a bit naughty. They're going to do what you've told them expressly not to do. But when it comes to the age of internet, you need to let them know what they can't do and why they can't do those things. The ostrich approach, that's what I call it, how people in their mind think that kids are dumb. So if you think your child is dumb, then you yourself,
Yeah, the dumb boy. Sorry,
they're going to take you to the cleaners. They will. So you can't assume your child is dumb. The discussions you have to have with your child. It starts from when they're little. And like I said, the age of internet is here. It's not going anywhere.
When you're getting mobile devices for your kids and all of that, should it be expensive or should it be functional?
They're tablets for kids. The Amazon Kindle Fire, they're for kids. They're actually systems for kids. So when you have devices for kids, I think it's about $140. It's less than $200. The Amazon one I was talking about. But when we're talking about kids, we're talking kids under like 6, 7.
You have kids 6, 7 that they have iPhones.
iPhones. I will not subscribe to that. Because at that age, you're supposed to have your Apple account and all of that. I think that's a bit early. It's a personal opinion, actually. I think it's a bit early. If you need to buy mobile devices for your kid and they don't have to make a call to anybody, just buy them the Amazon tab and the likes. There's so many of them like that. They have everything. They can surf the net. They can play games on it. They can learn on it and all of that. A 7-year-old kid with an iPhone. That's why we have a lot of kids that, there's the cost to everything. There's no value to them. I'm sure you've all heard that before. If you're thinking, oh yeah, if I can afford something, where can I buy it for my child? You can't be there all the time. You might not always be rich or wealthy, as the case may be. The parents won't always be there. We should raise these kids to. Sorry, I'm going to digress a little bit. We feel that our parents have failed us. Or the other generations have failed us. They're not giving us leadership baton. They're not giving us, they're not letting us rule. They're not letting us evolve. But we're doing exactly the same thing. The kids can't do any house chores. The kids think the female gender is the weaker sex. The girls think the men are the ATM. We're ruining them as well. The same thing we think our fathers did to us, that's the same thing we're doing in another way. Rather, more catastrophic way. Say, oh yeah, you want to give everything to your kids, you might want to think about that again. It's not, I personally don't think it's a good strategy of parenting.
Kids and innocence. So, lots of kids are robbed of their childhood. And a lot of them get to be adults very early.
Too quickly.
What are your thoughts?
It's the age of social media. I'm not a fan of the Kardashians and any of those. I think they're fickle people. That's my personal opinion. You guys don't should be for it. It's that age where you go on Instagram and then you see how they built up a 5-year-old. And the child is already walking funny and they have this makeup on their faces. At what point do they have to be kids? And kids of 5 is already telling you that I'm depressed or something. They have Instagram handles and like what? Some schools are actually call people as well.
Yes.
So I took my son to school someday and they said, oh yeah, today is the cultural day or something like that. Everyone's supposed to dress. And I saw these kids. They were dressed nice. I'm not going to say the name of my child's school. So
you don't shoot them.
yeah, so obviously because that might not just be very nice. So I went to the school and I saw primary school students, actually maybe year 5 or 4, or well dressed. I'm not going to say they're not well dressed, but they had like makeup, lip gloss, and like they're still kids. Cultural day. I've seen it on TV and all of that. A lot of pedophiles, once they see that so pedophiles are sick. They are the dredge of the society. They're the gutter rats. Well, let's call them everything we can and we'll be correct. But sometimes, I'm not blaming the victim here before people jump on me. I'm only saying that sometimes they even react to what they see. So in our fight against protecting the girl child, the boy child, we need to ensure that they stay, when they're kids. We don't unduly expose them. How do you expose them? How do you expose them? The internet, or like I said earlier, we really can't do without the internet now. But it has to be the controlled use of the internet. But all I'm saying is, let these kids grow. And they watch us. They watch us more. They listen less. All the things you're saying, forget. They are not listening to you.
It's what you're doing.
It's what you're doing. They're doing. So if you're robbing stuff, they want to rob stuff. You're doing stuff. So you can explain to them that this is perfume. You can have this when you're so age. You can have perfume for kids. This is roll-on. You can have it. Makeup when you're so age. And all of that. And we should stop letting the media, the West, raise our kids for us. So when people come and like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be... No, that's not how they live. Some of them are responsible parents. More responsible than you. I think you just go up and like, oh yeah, is that not the way Kim Kardashian? You don't live in Kim Kardashian's house. You know what they're doing in the house. You just watch something and you just...
They're selling their brand.
And they're making money.
As possible to them, your data.
Yeah. So a lot of these things we see that that's not the way it is. So we need to be a bit careful about letting kids lose their innocence. Let them grow up, so that when they grow up, they don't start acting like kids because they miss their childhood. They say this thing about something like Michael Jackson, how he was singing early, he was dancing early, and his elder ones, he was looking up to them. So he started to leave like his elder ones. Booze, drugs, possibly women, I wasn't there. But obviously, he then grew old and then decided to be playing with toys.
Yeah, because he didn't get that when he was supposed to. You're very correct.
So Abraham Maslow said something at the risk of sounding like a philosopher or a prof. Yeah, I'm sounding like a lot of things today. Abraham Maslow said, the things you have or the things you've experienced, they cease to motivate you. The ones you've never had, they draw you in. So if you've played with the toy before, or you've had a toy before, I've been there, done that. We move. But if you become an adult and the things you're supposed to do as a child, you never did them, you come back to them. And I'm sure you see this in everyday living. You know, we're talking about how childhood just affects how it affects the kind of man you become in the future. Yeah. So if you're somebody, maybe when everybody was going for, teenagers are going for parties, late night outs, things like that. You never was allowed to do that. Maybe your parents were extra strict, or maybe you just couldn't afford them at the point. There were things people couldn't afford at the point. I know somebody who would tell you, oh yeah, when I was born, I had 2 pairs of shoes. That's why the whole room is filled with shoes. It gets to a point where you're thinking, I don't want to own this anymore. I mean, do I really need that? I don't even need to wear them. So back to what we're saying, what you've never had, or the opportunities you never had, might be something to motivate you. But if you've had them, at the point where you should have them, it doesn't faze you anymore. So let the kids be kids. So they're kids. At the point where they're supposed to go for birthday parties, let them go for birthday parties. At the point where they tell you, Dad, I need to go for this party, you don't say, no, over my dead body. Well, he's going to go to uni, or she's going to go to uni, and she will go.
Share one of your memorable childhood experience.
Good or bad?
Whichever. One good, one bad.
There's so many things, I don't even know where to start. I don't know which one.
Slapping you, knocking your head, twisting your ears.
Oh, my mom was a warrior, man. She's very soft now. She's with my kids now. She's just there like, oh, don't beat him, and I'm like, you. Yeah. Okay, let me tell you a bad one first. Kids can be mischievous, actually. My father collects old notes. The old notes. So we had this, I think it was 1 naira or 2 naira. It was green in color. It looks like 20 naira. So I took the green one, I took it to the malam. I need to buy sugar. 20 naira worth of sugar. I think I was thinking, who's this child? We just, me, my friends, my cousin, we ate.
20 naira worth of sugar at that time.
We ate like thief. In short, I went again, no, I didn't buy it once, but got changing. I think when he closed and he was doing his books, and then he saw the note. Of course, you remember that child. That's why it was 1 naira or 2 naira. Well, the beating I got that day, you think I'm a kidnapper? My mom and my dad, they absolutely went berserk. They beat the crap out of me. I deserved the kind of parenting I got. I'm not going to lie. I deserved it. Credit to my mother. I was an impossible child. They beat me.